For the majority of 2024, I lived in what could barely be called an apartment, a dank, closet-like space that forced me to squeeze all of my belongings into a ridiculously small area. To make matters worse, I insisted on setting up a proper screen for my projector, further reducing the available space. This meant I often had to crouch awkwardly to get to my bed. Already claustrophobic before arriving, my condition only worsened with every damp feature of the place. The tiny desk, the narrow walkway, the miniature fridge, and the stove that gave up working partway through my stay. This so-called apartment was part of a shared house in Tokyo, Japan, the most crowded city in the world. While the rent was reasonable, moving there turned out to be one of my worst mistakes. The oppressive confines of that tiny space nearly drove me insane, leading to a cascade of irrational decisions. Originally, I had moved to Hamamatsu, a city just south of Tokyo, in December 2023 to work as an English teacher. Living on the outskirts of the city, I often felt the weight of being the only foreign white face in the area, with no one around to truly understand or communicate with me. The isolation was crushing. For 3 days, I didn't even leave my Leo Palace apartment, overwhelmed by the sense of being utterly alien and alone. When school started, my anxiety grew to the point that I became seriously ill. I ended up spending a night in the hospital and missed a few days of work. After recovering, I managed to handle my English teaching duties for elementary schools well enough, as all I had to do was follow the curriculum. However, my junior high school responsibilities were a completely different story. There, I was expected to design entire lessons from scratch, complete with activities. Some of these lessons went better than others, but by the end of the school year, I reluctantly came to the conclusion that teaching was not for me. Despite the serene beauty of the Japanese countryside, I decided to move to bustling Tokyo in search of something different. I began to believe in fate when I discovered a UFC gym nearby. There I found a sense of community and began training in Jeet-Kune-Do, Bruce Lee's martial art, under Sifu Nate. I also connected with people in my YSA ward, going to various activities. I also connected with photography groups where I learned to edit photos and capture stunning images, often of beautiful women. These communities became my anchor as I searched for employment. However, my lack of Japanese language skills proved to be a major obstacle. I struggled to understand interviewers' questions, which limited my job prospects. The only paid gig I managed to secure was working for Bangladesh clients as a videographer at a travel fair. Looking back, I wish I had been smarter about planning my visa extension. Had I researched better, I might have applied to Japanese language schools as soon as I arrived in Tokyo in April. While I did attend a Japanese language school called Koto, they did not support student visas, and I should have pursued other avenues. Perhaps I could have joined a January session and received support in finding a part-time job. Alternatively, I should have gone to Japan as a student from the very beginning, rather than as an English teacher. Teaching was never in my heart to begin with, and it was merely a means to an end, getting to Japan. By the time I traveled around to Osaka, Mount Fuji, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and a boxing tournament in Shizuoka, I was grappling with the reality that I had failed to secure a lasting place in Japan. While I had made progress with the language, it wasn't enough. My photography career, too, hadn't taken off to the point where I could rely on it for a stable income. Still, my time in Japan wasn't wasted. I learned a great deal and overcame significant anxiety. I'd love to return someday, but that future feels uncertain. I won't be eligible for a student visa until July 2025, so for now all I can do is reflect on what might have been and remain hopeful for what lies ahead. For anyone considering moving to Japan, I hope my journey offered some valuable insights. Plan carefully, understand the challenges, and follow your passion rather than just taking a practical path. Most importantly, be prepared and adapt and grow. Comment below if you think I should indeed try again for a student visa in July 2025. It feels so far away, but who knows, maybe it'll be for the better. Until next time, Jane.